Hello students and welcome to Science Extension. This is Module 1, the Foundations of Scientific Thinking, and our final video where we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about the use of research data. For this video, students need to analyse the influence of ethical frameworks on scientific research over time, including but not limited to the use of research data. A key aspect of research activities is the production of data. In science, researchers share that information or data as part of the collaborative activities or the peer review process, particularly for scientific publications. This aspect of research provides transparency and legitimacy to scientific knowledge construction. The availability of high-quality data, together with their attributes, is also essential for secondary research. However, there are circumstances wherein data sharing is not desirable or should even be avoided, for example, personal health data. The primary funders of research grants in Australia, the National Health and Medical Research Council and the Australian Research Council, are committed to openly sharing research data where possible. Researchers are encouraged to deposit their research data into a national data repository, the Australian National Data Service. The Australian Code for the Responsible Conduct of Research states researchers have a responsibility to their colleagues and the wider community to disseminate a full account of their research as broadly as possible. Both the ARC and the NHMRC encourage the dissemination of all research outputs. Data sharing is beneficial. It encourages scientific inquiry and promotes innovation. It leads to new collaborations between data users and data creators. It maximizes transparency and accountability. And it reduces the cost of duplicating data collection. The terms data and information are often used interchangeably, although usually data refers to information in the raw form, whereas information generally refers to data that have been interpreted, analysed, or contextualised. In science, we would also refer to this as evidence. For data sharing purposes, data is often classified as low risk, medium risk, or high risk based on the impact that the loss of confidentiality, integrity, or availability of the data would have on the individuals involved. And we've all known someone or experienced some data breach at some point in our lives. Research data that contains information that's confidential, of a national security interest, of commercial value, or subject to ethical approval and oversight must be securely stored and shared only with appropriate permission. And this, of course, has implications for the data that you're going to collect for your project. The National Statement on Ethical Conduct in Human Research provides guidelines on the generation, collection, access, use, analysis, disclosure, storage, retention, disposal, sharing, and reuse of data or information. They focus on ways that preserve privacy but enhance knowledge generation. The ethics of data sharing centres on the following questions. What data or information are required to achieve the objectives of the project? How and by whom will the data or information be generated, collected, and accessed? How and by whom will the data or information be used and analysed? Will the data or information be disclosed or shared, and if so, with whom? How will the data or information be stored and disposed of? What are the risks associated with the collection, use, and management of data or information, and how can they be minimised? What is the likelihood and severity of any harm that might result? So what can researchers and research administrators do? Researchers and research institutions should consider the following measures. Institutions should encourage ethical data sharing. Researchers, like you, should consider the need to share data when they design their projects. Collaborating researchers should agree on how data is stored, managed, and destroyed. They should also agree on the ownership of any intellectual property created. Researchers should seek approval to share their data or to use data generated by others from their ethics committees or other authorities. Even information in the public domain, including social media, may require specific permission for their use. Researchers and institutions should use techniques to support data sharing. Researchers should consider anonymizing sensitive data that may then be shared. Researchers should reduce the risk of identification during the collection, analysis, and storage of data and information. In some cases, scientific results cannot freely be shared. This applies to data that may be of commercial, national security, or human health interest. Generally, the results of such research will not be published in publicly accessible platforms. Alternatively, some journals may allow the findings to be published without disclosing the data associated with those findings. For example, papers describing new drug discoveries rarely contain all the relevant information for readers to make independent assessments of the outcomes. These restrictions on data sharing may be detrimental to the scientific process. I'm deeply indebted to Sham Nair for the magnificent piece of work that he put together on ethics in research that has been a great support to all of us who are teaching science extension. His work was thorough, well-researched, and well-referenced, and it has provided a great deal of material for many of the videos in this series. So my thanks to you, Sham, and my thanks to you for watching.